Hi everyone, happy school holidays to all the teachers out there. I have spent the first weekend down at a workshop in Wellington with other Montessori teachers, and one of, I guess, the sideline discussions that was going on was a lot about the use of technology. And in the Herald a couple of weeks ago in Auckland, there was an article called The Great School Shake-Up, and it was about children coming to school at 5 and not being able to talk. And there was growing concern as to where this trend was coming from, and there were a lot of different opinions, but I guess the main one that was coming across is this happening from the increased amount of screen time from birth? And this started a lot of discussion around technology in our workshop. And I guess I thought this would be a good time to talk about Montessori and I guess her stance, or how we've interpreted what we think her stance would have been on technology. First of all, we can't really ask her, she's not here anymore, but Maria Montessori was the first female doctor. She was a scientist, she was very much ahead of her time, and technology is not something that she would have ignored or stuck her head in the sand over. She was also extremely passionate about human development, and her educational philosophy was based purely around the child and what she believed each child at every age needed. So I think she definitely would have considered how technology was used in regards to what that child needed. And so from most 0 to 6 Montessori centres, there'll be little or no technology. iPads and screens activate a lot of senses, there's a lot of noises, there's a lot of different things to see on the screen that can flash, and Montessori thought this was an amazing time for children to developing their neural pathways in their brain, and it's this time of huge brain growth. So a lot of the materials that she uses isolate a concept. So I brought one of the sensorial materials I had in storage called the colour tablets. So you can see that the children they get them out and they order them by colour. The only thing that's different is the colour. The texture is not the same, it doesn't make any noises or yell at you, so it's a very kind of simple thing to help build those concentration skills. I'm not trained in early childhood, so I won't talk too much more about that. But I will talk about Montessori and technology in the 6 to 12 age group. So we generally, at my school, we have a computer, we have a 3D printer, we have an iPad. But as we were talking about it in this workshop, there was many conversations that when you use technology, it's often better if you use it as the last destination. So of course, if children are doing a research project, we always prefer to use a book or go to an expert in the community. The 6 to 12 period of development is huge for developing social skills. And when a child is focused on a screen, they are very unaware of everyone else around them. And in Montessori, we want them to learn grace and courtesy skills. We want them to learn how to talk to people, how to negotiate, how to resolve conflict. And when they're on a screen, we can't really access any of these skills. Also, a lot of teachers talked about that if you show a child a YouTube in a research project, some children will think it's over then. Kind of that same idea of when you watch a movie, there's a beginning and then it finishes. So often with books or people, there's more of a journey to that process. We do use technology to help children with learning needs as well. We have an iPad which we use for our children who have auditory processing disorder. We just use it as a listening post. We don't have anything going on the screen because we really want to build that muscle that helps them to hear those sounds. We also teach touch typing on the computer for those older children that have been really slow to develop writing. And we always use technology for a purpose. So we might use it to learn how to write an email, to find directions on a trip we're going on. They've used it to learn how to code. So we don't use it for rewards and we don't use it for games. And we're all possible, we will try and not use apps that just replace, I guess, human interactions. We always want them to be talking to each other and within the community. So another interesting point in the discussion we had was that a lot of people are successful in technology these days, and a lot of people who've had Montessori education, like the people who created Google. Will Wright, he created the game Sims, and he was a Montessori child and credited his education for his creativity. These people weren't digital natives, so they haven't had, I guess, iPads from birth. They've still had this education, which helps them with problem solving, critical thinking, and working with others. And then they've used these skills to develop their passions, which are technology. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when people have had technology right from birth, and will they still be able to have the same creativity with it? But that was just, an unanswered question we had. So yeah, so in conclusion, Montessori has a really positive attitude towards technology. We love it, but we just do realize that it's always changing, and there are some really big concepts like problem solving and empathy and kindness that we want to instill in the children as well. And really, most children can learn to use an iPad or a computer from home pretty easily. So yeah, I hope that gave you an idea of how we view technology. It is different in every school. This is just from my perspective and what I've talked about within our 6 to 12 community.